Okay, Parashat Toledot. I have an interesting idea that I want to share with you. I hope you like it. Which Gemara is this? Which Gemara is this? I want the other Gemara. Let me just get my Gemara out. There's the Gemara. Okay. A couple of lessons I want to just share with you, ideas from this Parashat. And I hope you like it. Number one, I want to first talk about the part of Parashat Toledot that you almost never hear about, of course. Toledot, obviously, the stories we know, the first story, there's three main stories in the it's a short Parashat. There's three main stories yesterday. Number one, Esav and Yaakov come out. He's holding on to the heel of Esav. They grow up. He sells the lentil. Okay, very nice. Everyone talks about that. That's the beginning of the Parashat. The end of the Parashat, everyone also talks about. It's Yitzhak wanted to bless Esav, and Rivka told Yaakov, make a trick, steal the blessings, etc., etc. He got the blessings and he stole them from his brother Esav. That's the end of the Parashat. But I feel like sometimes people don't remember there's a middle story of the Parashat. If you look at it on the surface, it might be a little boring. It's a story of Yitzhak's entrepreneurship, how he made a living. And I think it's fascinating. And so I just want to share with you one idea about this. How did Avraham Avinu make a living? Avraham Avinu, at the end of Parashat Vayera, well, he was in the hotel business like me, right? Avraham Avinu was in the hotel business. He took people, guests, he fed them, and he taught them. Where did he locate his hotels? And so it says at the end of Parashat Vayera, it says in the middle of Parashat Vayera that he dug wells and he planted a tree by the well, Vayita Eshel. He dug a well and he planted a tree and he called the well Be'er Shava. And he proclaimed the name of God many days by that well. And he dwelt in the land of the Pilishtim. That's what it says in Parashat Vayera. And so if we just think about that story for a second, Avraham Avinu dug a well. Well, if you have a well, if you have water, that's life. If you have water, now you can have irrigation, you can plant trees, you can grow fruit, you can grow crops, and then you can have food, and you can feed people, sell it, and you can live. And so you want a well. A well is a source of life on a physical level. On a spiritual level, the Hasidim talk a lot about this. What's his name? The Gerer Rebbe, the Sifat Emet. Sifat Emet talks about this. The Gerer Rebbe Shaarey Yerushalayim talks about this. How a well signifies that deep below the surface, there's a lot of good stuff down there. Each person has a well. Shaarey Yerushalayim says this. Each person has a well inside of them. Inside of every one of us, there's a lot of goodness down there. We just have to dig it out. It's covered up with dirt. You have to get it out. And that's what Avraham Avinu was doing physically and spiritually. And so he brought people over, they drank from his physical well, and he told them, just like I dug the earth and discovered this source of life, so too inside of you there's a great source of life. Let's reveal it, let's dig it out. Back in Parashat Vayera, Avimelech argued with him. Why did he name the well Be'er Shava? Because Avimelech, the king of the Pilishtim, Palestinians, argued with Abraham and said, his shepherd said, no, it's our well, it's mine. There's nothing new. He said, it's ours. And Abraham said, we're talking about it's yours. I dug the well, it's mine. And so he made a peace treaty with Avimelech, the king of the Philistines.
The
guess?
The guess. Israel got the guess in the sea.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then they
Gas? GAS? Oil?
oil.
I didn't know Israel discovered oil.
But the previous government.
They They discovered oil? Oh, I think I heard that story. It
Yes.
was recent, right? Yeah, I heard that story.
The pig gave it away.
Why are we so nice?
Yeah, they said it's ours.
There you go. Nothing new. Inkul hadash tahat Hashem, is nothing new. And so even back to Parashat Vayera, Avimelech says, my well, or his servants said, my well. And Abraham says, I dug the well. And so they go there, and they make a treaty. They make a peace treaty. That was broken, of course. They make a peace treaty. Abraham gives him 7 lambs, and he says, what are these 7 lambs for? This is right before the Akedah. If you look in the Parashat Vayera, what are these 7 lambs for? These 7 lambs signify that I am the one who dug this well. And they swore, they made a treaty, they made a promise to each other. And he named the place Be'er Shava, because Shava means to swear. And so the place is called Be'er Shava to remind everyone. Now, why would you name it swear? We have to always dig below this, not look at like a child. Why would you name the well the place of the swear? Because anytime you drive by, you remember you swore that this is mine, the name of something. What happens? Abraham dies, bam. 1 generation later, Abraham dies, our Perashah. Fast forward to our Perashah yesterday. So what does Yitzhak do for a living? I think it's fascinating if you trace Yitzhak's entrepreneurship, his career. And I'm not criticizing Yitzhak, God forbid. Who am I to criticize him? But there's a lesson to be learned. Yitzhak doesn't copy his father in the beginning. He's not a well digger in the beginning. Vayizra. He went into agriculture. He planted. He got 100 times as much as he planted in. So he was a very successful entrepreneur. He went into the crops business. And he was very successful. He made his own name, not his father's business. What happened? They threw him out. Left me, man. Get out of here. You're too rich for us. We don't want you around here. You're too powerful. Get out of here. And so he went out. He made his own business. And it hurt him in the end. They threw him out. Ibn Ezra says he lost all his money. Later on in the Parashah, when it says, Vayehav Yitzhak et Esav ki sayid befiv, Yitzhak loved Esav because he hunted and gave him food. The commentaries all ask the question, what do you care about? We're going to ask this question in a few minutes. What do you care about the food so much? Ibn Ezra, who's a very pshat rabbi, he's a very pashut pshat. Don't get me too midrashic. Ibn Ezra says, Yitzhak lost all his money. He was poor. He's hungry. Ramban, Nachmanides says, Has v'shalom, how could you ever talk about our father like this? Ibn Ezra says he was poor. He lost all his money. They threw him out. And so now what does he do? His whole career that he built, his whole business that he built, is they threw him out. They expelled him. The Palestinians, they expelled him from the land. And so what does he do? He says, I wonder where my father's wells are. And I'm ad-libbing to the Perashah to give it a little flavor, but we should read every Perashah this way. I wonder where my father's wells are. And the Torah tells us what happened to the wells. By Saktimum Pelishtim, these wonderful Palestinians, loving Palestinians, they covered them all up with dirt. Just like any piece of valuable land that you give them, God forbid it should remain flourishing and it should remain beautiful. I've seen pictures. I was watching videos yesterday. These videos they suck you in. The Gaza's beautiful, beautiful beach. It's a beach town. I mean, the whole coast. They could have made a beautiful tourist attraction over there. People would have flocked there like Dubai. But they covered it with dirt. So it says straight out, by Satimum Pelishtim, by Malum Afar, they filled all his wells with dirt. Like Mordechai said, not for you and not for me. It's ours, which means if they were able to cover it, they took it. They took control. They threw him out. We got it, and now we're going to cover it with dirt. What kind of living is this? And so Yitzhak says, now I'm going to go find them. And again, when he says, I'm going to go find them, again, we have to live the story. And so this doesn't mean there's 2 people, Mr. Yitzhak, Mr. Philistine. It means there's armies. It was a world just like ours, which means Yitzhak says, I'm taking it back. I'm going to repossess my wells, my father's wells. And he went back and he found one well and he redug it. That means by force, Rabotai. It means by force. No one gives it back. He took it back by force and he redug the well. What was their response? Ah, thanks for digging our well. That's our water. We always wanted this well to have water. Thank you. Lanu hamayim. It's our water. And they called it sitna because it was a satan. It's a fight. And he said, okay. He was a pacifist in the beginning. You get a few chances. He went, I'll find another one. I don't know how easy it was to find these wells. And I don't know how easy it is to redig the wells without machinery like we have these days. I found another well. He went and found another one of his father's wells. He took control of it. He dug it up again. He found water. And what they do? The same thing. Thank you very much. That's our well. Thank you. Thank you for the water. Did he fight them? No. So he's being pushed around by these Palestinians. They threw him out of their land. They closed his crop business. And they threw him out of his two wells that belonged to in the family. There was his father's. So what does he say now? And that's why it's so important, I think, we look at the details of this story. He dug another well. It doesn't say this well was his father's. He found Mayim Hayim. He found new water. New water. He said, I'm going to do my father's business, but I'm not going to bother with this. It's mine, it's yours, it's mine, it's yours. I'm going to make a brand new one. The same career my father did, but I'm digging my own well. And they didn't fight about it because it's brand new. You can't claim this belonged to you. And he called it Rehovot. He said, finally, there's no more fighting. He's going through a lot of work. He's going through a lot of effort just to simply live when all this stuff belonged to his father. Once he found the living waters in Rehovot, the Mayim Hayim, Avimelech Melech Pelishtim, the king of the Palestinians, comes and says, I want to make a treaty with you. Suddenly, he wants to make a treaty with him. Suddenly. He goes there, he says, Yitzhak, who I love, the way Yitzhak speaks, Yitzhak is so gevurah. He's not hesed like his father. Yitzhak is straight. He says, why are you here? You hate me. Literally, I can hear the way Yitzhak speaks. He's gevurah. Yitzhak is just like flat. Why are you here? You hate me. You threw me out. That's what it says in the pasuk. You hate me. And they said, because you're successful. We see that God is with you. You're successful. We want to be with you. We want to make a treaty that we won't hurt you or your children, and you won't hurt us or our children. Wow. Deja vu. They make a treaty, and that day, his servants come and says, guess what? We found another well. Now, the commentaries have a disagreement what this last well was. Some say it was another new well, but a lot of the Mefarshim say they redug Abraham's well of Be'er Shava. We found another well. We found water. They didn't dare to dispute this one with him. And he called the name of the well Be'er Sheva. Interesting. Because in the beginning it says he named the wells Kashemot Asher Kara Mihen. He named the wells exactly the names of his fathers. In the beginning, it says he named the first two wells that they disputed exactly the name of the wells his father called them. Then he made his own well with his own name, Rehovot. And then the last well was his father's well of Be'er Shava, and now he names it Be'er Sheva. Why did he name it Be'er Sheva? Great question. It could be because of the New Deal, just like his father. There's a lot of 7. Both stories have 7. In the beginning, his father named it Be'er Shava because they swore in a treaty, and he also put 7 sheep. It could be either one. And now he named it Be'er Sheva because Sheva is also to swear, Shevuah. And according to some, if you count it, this is also the 7th well that was dug. If you count the first one, Abraham dug it, it was stopped up. Abraham dug the second one, it was stopped up. If you count them all, it's possible this is the 7th one. Okay. I don't think it's a coincidence that we watch Yitzhak navigating his career, finding success, failure, and then lasting success. Not like the Ibn Ezra who says he was poor, because really most people argue with the Ibn Ezra and says he was not poor. And I think it's an interesting lesson. Sometimes it's obviously when it comes to business, but we can expand it to all things. Our fathers and mothers pave a way. They make a family business. They make a way in life. And the children say, I want to find my own way. I don't want to go. Coming from the Syrian community, I can tell you, the Syrian community is very affluent in Brooklyn. They're very, very wealthy. How many times you see people, they want to, what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing this and that. Isn't your father like a billionaire? Why are you, doing cars? I want to make my own money. And it's coming from a not wealthy family. It's like, why? Why do you want? Anybody who's, once you get older, you're going to ask yourself, why did you even bother? Just go in your father's business and get a check. I want to make my own way. Or when I'm not with business, with career, with philosophy. You're a Republican, you're conservative, you're religious, whatever it is, or the opposite. You're a liberal. I want to find my own way in life. He works so hard, she works so hard, paving the way just for you to go make your own way. And sometimes you'll find failure. Sometimes you'll find lots of success. Yitzhak found lots of success, but it didn't last. He made tons of money in the produce business, but they threw him out because Avraham Avinu knew, don't outrich the rich. This is not the business to be in. We're not going to be welcome here anymore. The well business was the right business for the family. He made his own way. He made tons of money. He got fired. They threw him out. He hits rock bottom. Now what does he do? I think it's time to join the family business. I think it's time to join what my dad did. And now he's going to copy exactly what his father did. But now everything personal, all his individuality is out of it. He went to the other extreme. Instead of my own flavor, forget it. That was a bad experience. I am my father. I'm doing exactly his business. The shop is exactly like his shop. The name of the shop is exactly the name of his shop. I'm not touching anything. What happened? More failure. Because you're not your father. You're not your mother. They make the pattern. They pave the road for you. But you're supposed to drive your own car down that road. He didn't put any individuality into it in the beginning, 2 times. And it failed miserably. And then it seems like a light bulb went off. I'm going to stay in the family business. I'm going to dig my own well. It's the same path my father took, but I'm not just a mimic and a copycat. I'm going to dig my own well. Success. Once he tasted that success, he said, I'm going to take it up a notch. I'm going to go now back to my father's old wells, which I had a hard time with in the beginning. I'm going to dig it with my own flavor, and I'm going to name it the same name he gave it, but for my reasons. He arrived at the same place his father arrived, but I got my own set of reasons. That's how you succeed. When you follow the road that your parents paved for you, and you arrive at the same place they wanted you to arrive, but with your own flavor, that's success. What happens right afterwards? And I love this one. The next big story in the Parashah is the juicy one, where Esav is about to be blessed and Yaakov steals the blessing. But there's like 3 Pesukim before that. After the wells, there's like 3 Pesukim right before it. What do those Pesukim say? Esav got married. Is that important to know right now? I didn't read it, huh? Ishmael? Yeah, he married 2 girls. It says he married 2 girls. Then it gives us the whole story of the stealing of the blessings. And then it says he married Ishmael's daughter. And so why is it important to say he married the two girls here? Why don't you say he married? Usually it says all the family in one spot. At the end, when you say he married Ishmael's daughter, just say he married the other girls too. And do we need to know these girls' names? Esav's happens to be one of his daughter's name was one of his wife's name was my daughter's name, Yehudit, which is Esav's wife's name. But Be'eri, exactly. And is there a connection that happened right after the well story? It tells us, by the way, he married two girls. And then right after that, we get to the juicy story where Rivka says to her son Yaakov, we are going lethal. We are taking the blessings by hook or by crook. Why? Why not no longer the nice way? The nice way is over. What clicked that said this is it? And so I have my own idea. I thought of it myself, and I think it's great. I like it, obviously. It says, we just talked about the wells. The wells were the family business. What did Abraham do for the family business? He dug wells and he planted trees by the wells. Look at Parashat Vayera. Vayita Eshel. And then after, Yitzhak goes back and forth with the Palestinians and finally lays his claim and puts down his flag and says, the wells are mine. They belong to the Jewish family. Comes Esav and marries two girls, and it happens to tell us the names of the girls and the names of the girls' fathers. Who are these fathers? Do we care? What are the names of the girls and their fathers? Esav marries Yehudit bat Be'eri. Yehudit, the Jewish, she's the Jewish one. Bat Be'eri. Be'eri means my wells. Be'eri, they're mine. I am the one that's taking the family business forward. And the next girl, Be'et Basemat, like Besamim, Basemat, Bat Elon. And my trees, Elon is a tree. That's my wells, and that's my trees. And I'm going to marry one girl that's a father. Her father is the well. She's the daughter of the well. And the second girl is the daughter of the tree. And so after my father Yitzhak finally got his victory, and he said, this is the Jewish family, I'm the Jewish family. Be'eri and Elon. What happens next? What happens next is the story where Yaakov has to steal the blessings. There's an interesting idea I read from Rabbi Avraham Trugman. He's alive now. He writes books now. He said, Vayehav Yitzhak et Esav ki sayid befiv. Yitzhak loved Esav. Literally, he sayid befiv, because he hunted in his mouth. There was a hunt. Sayid is a hunt. Befiv, in his mouth. Someone's hunting someone. Yeah. Rashi says he hunted his father. He trapped his father, making him think he was better than he was. The Pashut Pshat, the basic understanding, was literally he was a hunter, and he was a hunter because we see that Yitzhak tells him, "Go hunt me food." And so the idea is as follows: if you look at Parashat Bereshit, in the first pasuk, in the second pasuk, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim v'et haaretz, Hashem created the land. Ve'haaretz hayita tohu vavohu. The land was tohu. Tohu is, what's a good translation for tohu? Chaos. Chaos, balagan, tohu. Tohu, look at Targum Unkilos, the translation for tohu into the Aramaic. Sida, Said. The word Said in Aramaic means tohu, means chaos. Says this rabbi, he loved Esav, ki Sayed befiv. He thought Esav was the one that can corral the chaos of the physical world and bring it down, which is our job here, to bring the spiritual connection and to spiritualize all the chaos of the physical world. Sayed befiv, tohu befiv. He has it in his pocket. The tohu, Esav can grab it, and he could make it all holy. If you take it up one notch, Said, Sadi, Yud, Dalid. Those are the letters of the word Said, hunt. It's the same letters that spell the letter Sadi. Now we think some people call the letter Sadiq. I think it's because of the song Sadiq Kuf Resh. So the Kuf that comes next, people think it's part of the Sadi, so they call it Sadiq. But the letter is not Sadiq. The letter is Sadi, and then the next one is actually Kof. Sadi Kof. We call it Kuf because people think I'm nuts if I say Kof. Sadi Kuf. Said Befiv. He had that Sadi in his mouth. The Arizal says, if you're holy, you can take that Sadi and turn it into a Sadiq. All you need to take this Tohu, take this Balagan, and you can make it righteous. All you need is one letter, Kuf. You need the Kuf. The Kuf is a letter that comes down. The Kuf goes down. And so it brings down and sort of brings down the spirituality to tie into the physicality. All he needs is the Kuf, and he makes a Sadi into a Sadiq. And so Esav, he had the Said, he had the Sadi, and Yaakov thought he was holy. He really thought he was a holy person, and he was the one to make the Kuf part of the Sadi. Now, when I was reading this, I thought to myself, that's interesting, because the way the Pasuk writes it, he loved Esav Kitsaid Befiv, because the Said is in Fiv, is in his mouth. And Said, we just said, is Sadi. So the letter Sadi is in his mouth. And I thought to myself, well, what happens if we take Sadi and add it into the Piv? He loved Esav ki Sadi befiv. The Sadi was in his mouth. What happens numerically if we take a Sadi and throw it into the word Fiv? Just like the Pasuk says to do. Sadi befiv. You get 186. 186 is the gematria of Kuf, the holy piece, the missing piece. That's what brings it down. And he thought Esav was the holy one, but he was wrong, because another one of his kids was named with a Kuf, Yaakov, Ekev, the heel, the last part. He was really the one who brings things down. There's a few questions Rav Shimon Schwab asks about this whole story about stealing the blessings. There's a lot of explanations about why they had to do this. This is a very unique idea that I've never heard before until I read it from Rav Shimon Schwab, the student of Rav Shimon Schwab in his name. He asked the following questions, and he's going to answer them all. Number one, why did he think Esau was holy? And he really fell for it. How gullible can you be? Esau was holy. He was the hunter. Yaakov Ishtam Yoshev Walim. Yaakov's the yeshiva boy. Number two, what is your obsession with food? Why do you need to eat food so much? Because he gives you food, you love him. You really love the kid who feeds you? Is that like, and they say, food is the way to a man's heart. I mean, seriously, it's Hakavinu we're talking about. Number three, why do you need to eat just to give the blessing? And so they say the answer, because to give the blessing, you need Ruach HaKodesh. And to have Ruach HaKodesh, you have to have simcha, happiness. And so Yitzhak says, I can't be happy if I don't have the food. You can't be happy if you don't have the food. You are Akedat Yitzhak. You're like the holiest person that ever lived. You're basically an angel. You're a half sacrifice. You've never left Israel. We should believe what we're told. Yitzhak can't be happy if he doesn't have food. Sorry. If I don't have a meal, nothing's happening. I need my food, and then I'll give the blessing. An empty stomach, come on. So then eat a little bit of rice. You need a steak. You're a Yitzhak. Additionally, why do you have to make Yaakov steal? It looks so bad. It looks terrible in the Pirashah. And the last question is, when Yitzhak realizes he was duped, your brother came. What's going on here? He says, Gam Baruch yeh. Let him keep the blessings. Why? You realize you were tricked. take the blessings back and give it to the right kid. Gam baruchiya, he got me. Keep it. And so he answers with a very interesting idea. It's definitely not your Pashut Pshat idea, that's for sure. It's something new. It's thought-provoking. I want to read you a Gemara. Gemara says, Gemara Kiddushin 81, a story. Rabbi Chiya bar Ashi. Rabbi Chiya bar Ashi was a rabbi in the times of the Gemara. Havaragil kol idan dehava nafal le'apeh. Anytime he would pray and say, Anna Hashem tahanun, hava amar harhaman yatzilenu miyetzer hara. He used to pray, Hashem, please save me from the Yetzer Hara. I'm so scared that I'm going to fall into the trap of the Yetzer Hara. Please save me that I don't sin. Yom Ahad Sham'itinu debitu. One day, his wife hears the guy praying. Her husband is like the biggest rabbi. He hears her husband pray. She hears her husband saying, save me from the Yetzer Hara. I need protection. Otherwise, I'm going to succumb to the Yetzer Hara. Amra, she says to herself, Michti. Hakama shene de parish laminai. He is so old and he's such a rabbi. He hasn't been with me for years. He has no temptation to even be with me. He has no Yetzer Hara. What is he praying for exactly? Why is he saying save him from Yetzer Hara? If he had temptation, you think he would look at me when I walk in the room. So this is bothering her. Does my husband have a Yetzer Hara or does he not? If he's saying save me from Yetzer Hara, that means he has desires. Well, if he has desires, why is he not touching me? Is it me? Or is it him? It's killing her. And she said, I have to find out. We're going to put it to the test. So so one day, he's studying Gemara in the garden. She decides to put on all the makeup. She puts on tons of makeup. She looks nothing like she did yesterday. She has a whole new hairstyle. She has a whole new makeup. She completely different look. And as he's studying with the book, she starts walking right in front of him, back and forth, back and forth. He looks up. Amar lamanat. He said, who are you? What's your name? Amra Anna Haruta dehadri mioma. She says, I'm Haruta. Haruta was the name of the town prostitute. She says, I'm Haruta. Haruta sounds like a prostitute name, no? Teba'ah. He says, I would like your services. How do you like that? Amrale, she says to him, you think she's going to give up the gig? No, she's not going to. Amrale, she says to him, I have a price. It's a very cheap price. You see the tree right here? Pomegranate tree? I need the top pomegranate from the top branch. If you can get me the top pomegranate, you got yourself a deal. Gemara says, Shavar, he jumped, Azal Atieni Hala, and he got the pomegranate down and he went with her. He goes home later. Tanura, his wife in her normal clothes, is cooking dinner. She starts to light up the oven. He goes and he sits in the oven and he says, burn me up, burn me in the oven. Why do you need to be burnt in the oven? Why do you want to punish yourself? I'm going to tell you something that happened today. So I gotta confess what happened today. I was in the garden. This beautiful lady walked by, and I couldn't help myself. I'm that lady. Lo ashkafpa. He didn't believe her. He said, "You're just trying to be nice to me." Adia bele simane. So she hands him the pomegranate. Amarla. He tells her, I thought I was doing something bad. I wanted to do something bad. I need to be punished. I don't care if it was you. I didn't know it was you. It feels wrong. Kol yamav shel oto tzaddik, for the rest of his life, that tzaddik's life, he fasted for this one sin, which really wasn't a sin because it was his wife, ad shemet be'ota mita, until he died because of this. It killed him so much. There's a pasuk in Mishlei, chapter 9, pasuk 17. Mayim ginovim imtaku. Stolen water is very sweet. Ve'lechem sitarim in'am, and the bread of secrecy is pleasant. Says Rav Shimon Schwab, Esav, as Rashi says, was ish yodeh asayid ish sadeh. By the way, Rav Shimon Schwab doesn't bring this Gemara. As usual, I'm putting it all together. A little flavor. Esav was a hunter. And she says he hunted people, he killed people, he hunted other people's wives, adultery, he hunted food, he stole, and he prepared this and he brought it to his father and he made like he was a righteous person. Now this is going to sound crazy, but says Rav Shimon Schwab, when Yitzhak, who his whole life only ate the good kosher food of his wife, eats the stolen food from Esav, tasted so amazing. Because it was Mayim Ginuvim, it was stolen. Stolen waters are sweet. Something about this dish is so delicious and different that I've never tasted before. I don't know what it is. It's not the spice, it's just the way he makes it. I love him because when he makes this food, there's something holy. It must be holiness. He must be a holy person. He's the chosen one. He cooks me the steak the same way my wife cooks the steak. I ask him for the black pepper the same way. It's a whole nother level. He must be a very, very holy boy. Why does Yitzhak say to Esav, I need you to give me the food before I bless you? Because I need the Ruach HaKodesh. I need the holiness to come on me. Not because I'm hungry. Give me that special food you make with that special holy spice. It tastes so different than your mother's food. It tastes good because it's stolen. Mayim ginuvim. You see the word mat'amim. It's a very interesting word. V'haveli mat'amim, v'aseli mat'amim. Yitzhak tells his kid, make me mat'amim. He doesn't say make me ochel, make me food. Make me mat'amim, tasty food. I want that taste. I need to taste that taste, which he thinks is holiness. Why does Rivka have to tell her son Yaakov, it's time for us to take drastic measures? Okay, mom, what do we do? I want you to go steal the blessing from him. Give him food and make believe and tell him you're Esav. Why would you do that to me? Because if it doesn't have the special taste of stolen food, he's going to know it's not Esav's. If you make him kosher food and you say, I am Yaakov, eat the food, it's the same steak he has every day of his life. He's looking for that special spice, which he doesn't understand is the stolen spice. Make him a tricky meal. And he eats it, and that's the taste I was looking for. Why, when he finds out he was duped? He says, Gam baruch yeh, keep it. Because when he found out he was duped, and he said, what? What? You're Esav? The guy before you was Yaakov? The food tasted with that special spice the same way your food tastes. I thought it was a holy spice, but he tricked me. That's not holy. Must be what I'm loving all this time is the opposite of a holy spice. I'm loving Mayim Ginovim. Forget about the whole thing. The whole reason why I built you up in my head is because your food's different than everybody else's food. But he's the same thing as yours. Forget it. I'm wrong. My whole life is wrong. Gam baruch yeh, keep it. Forget the whole thing. It's an interesting twist. This rabbi, Rabbi Chiya, says the Chida, takes it to another level. At least Yitzhak was eating stolen food, and so it tasted good. Says the Chida. This is your wife. She's kosher. Why did it taste so good? Why did you get so much energy? And says the Chida, must be, even if you think it's bad for you, you get the energy. That's a whole nother level. This is not only like spiritual DNA of a stolen thing tastes good. Now we're getting psychological here. Now we're getting emotional here. When you think something's bad for you, you love it even more. One more Gemara, and we'll call it a week. This Gemara is going to be even more scandalous than the other Gemara. I mean, what do you expect by now? This Gemara is on page 81 in Kiddushin. The Gemara says, no, the other one was Gemara 81. This one is Sanhedrin, 74. Gemara says, there was a guy. Hold on. There was once a guy, where he just lusted after one woman. He was lovesick over this one woman. All he thought about night and day. His heart became obsessed with her. And he became sick. And so he went to the doctor and said, this guy is literally lovesick over this girl. They asked the doctors, what should we do about this guy? How do we heal him? What does any good doctor say? Of course, let him be with her. That's the cure. He's lovesick. What would any American doctor say? Any liberal would say, take her. That'll make you feel better. Amru Hachamim, the rabbi said, Has v'shalom, no. Yamut ve'al tiba'illo. He must die from his love. If that's what it takes, that he's going to die from this, let him die. He cannot be with this girl. The rabbi said, 1 second. Ta'amod lefanav aroma. Maybe we can try different things. Maybe he doesn't have to actually cohabit with her. Maybe he'll get over it if he just let him see her, let her stand before him undressed. Maybe that'll do it. It's not asur. Is it asur from the Torah? Yamut ve'al ta'amod lefanav aroma. The rabbi says, let him die and not see this woman undressed. Okay, they said another option. Tisaper imo me'achorei hageder. Can she at least be in the next room, behind the wall, and have a conversation with him? Read him a bedtime story. Maybe he'll feel better. He won't even look at her. He won't even touch her. Says the rabbis, Yamut v'lo tisaper imo me'achorei hageder. Rather him die than even speak to this woman from behind the wall. So, what kind of a religion is this? Those two rabbis that argued what the story was exactly. Now they're remembering the story of this guy that was lovesick. One says, one says she was a married woman. Of course, you're not going to let someone see another married woman. So sorry, that's adultery. But the other one says you're wrong. She was a single girl. The man says, single girl? Why don't you let her marry the single girl? If she's willing, I'm sure she'll want to save someone's life. Maybe divorce after. Papa says, Mishum pegam mishpaha. It'll be a disgrace to her family. She's used as a tool to make some sicko get over his lovesick. This is not the way we treat Jewish girls. They're not property. And we're not going to set a precedent that we're going to let you, and next guy's going to come and say, oh, I need a girl, I'm lovesick. No, die. Even though he literally was physically ill, die. This is not what we do with Jewish girls. But still, let her get married. If they marry of their chuppah and kiddushin, it's kosher. It's not a disgrace to the family. No one will know. Doesn't have to be a scandal. Let them have a marriage. Gemara says, Lo, no. Why? Lo mi'aitev ta'ateh. It's not going to help anyway. Why? The Amar Rabbi Yitzhak. Rabbi Yitzhak is the rabbi here. Rabbi Yitzhak is the rabbi. We're talking about Yitzhak. The Amar Rabbi Yitzhak. Maim Ginovim Imtaku. Stolen waters are sweet. Once they get married, it's not going to cure him anyway. Which means, unfortunately so. Which means what? If you deep into the psychology of it, which means, Habibi, Mr. Pervert, what you need is not this girl. What you need is to be reflective and looking to cure your heart. You're desiring stolen waters. The problem is not her. The problem is in what you need. You should be happy with what you have. You're so obsessed with what you don't have. It's not going to help. And if we start feeding this monster, it's just going to make it worse. People have to be satisfied for what they have. You can become completely illogical if you focus on the emotion. But I need it, but I'm dying. Now, imagine this is, again, 2023 in America. Isn't love love? But he needs it. If you let him die, you're genocidal. The answer is what? We don't lead our lives based on your little futile pea brain emotion. We lead our lives with intellect. Get a hold of yourself. And if the question is, what we want, is it based on intellect or is it based on emotion? By the way, Rambam brings this halacha lema'aseh. This is not only a story in the Gemara. Rambam says straight out, Mishinatan ela be'esh bi'isha, a person who wants a woman, ve'hala, and he gets sick over her, ve'natan lamut, and he's going to die. Ve'amru arofeim, and the doctors say, en lo refu'ah ad shetiba Elohim. He's not going to be better unless he has her. Yamut, ve'al tiba Elo. He must die. Afilu hayatat pinuya, even if she's single. Rambam. Even if she's single. Even to have a conversation with her, no, you may not have a phone call with her. Let him die. We don't do this to Jewish girls because of your little emotion. And so therefore, huh? Yeah. Like, by the way, we see a perfect example by Tamar, David's daughter, right? The second he had her, he threw her out. And so it's not going to help anything. The problem is you. And so if we take a little lesson from this, not to criticize Yitzhak, Hasbe Shalom, but Yitzhak Avinu, I only want to use him as a lesson for us, not to talk bad about Yitzhak, God forbid. Yitzhak, when he had that moment of truth, when he knew he was duped, why do you need this special taste? What's wrong with the taste of the normal food that your wife made for you? Why didn't you perceive holiness in the normal dinner that your wife made for you every day? You shouldn't need this special feeling of something else. We need to lead our lives based on what makes sense, based on what we have, not on emotions. And I can tell you, when I look at these videos and I hear these idiot college kids and idiot big adult kids chanting for things they don't even know what they're chanting for. They can't even name the river. They don't know what sea. They don't know what they're talking about. It's pure emotion. All you want is something far away that's out of your grasp, and you're not happy with what you have in your backyard. Because the answer is, if we gave you the whole Israel, that's not going to cure what's ailing you. You don't want Israel. You hate your life. I'm talking to the college kids now. I'm talking to the white people. I'm not talking to the Arabs. You don't hate Israel. You don't want Israel. That's the girl that you want. What the problem is inside of you. You're obsessed with getting emotional about something that you don't have. Because at the end of the day, you hate your own country. You hate your own life. You're not satisfied with what you have. And so you're just going to grab on to anything else out there. Mayim Ginovim, it's all stolen waters. What is the halakha? Do we give the stolen waters or do we say die? We do not give you the stolen waters. You can cry all you want. Get a hold of yourself. Be intellectual, not emotional. It's a little lesson that we can learn from Rav Shimon Schwab based on the Yitzhak Yaakov Esav story. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great week, everybody.
Yeah.